Hello everyone, and welcome back to Speak English Naturally podcast, the place where you improve your English through real conversations, useful vocabulary, and everyday American English. I'm Anna, and I'm so happy you're here today. Before we begin, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever sat down to study? Opened your book? Picked up your phone just for 1 minute? And suddenly, 30 minutes disappeared? I think we've all been there. Staying focused has become one of the biggest challenges in modern life. Our phones buzz. Messages appear. Videos keep playing. And before we know it, we've forgotten what we were trying to do. Today's episode is called How to Focus Like a Pro. Joining me, as always, is my good friend David. Hi David.
Hi Anna. It's great to be back. I have to admit, this topic feels very personal. Because even though I teach productivity workshops, I still get distracted sometimes. People often think successful people never lose focus. But that's not true at all. The difference isn't that they never get distracted. The difference is that they know how to get back on track.
I love that idea. Sometimes we imagine that focused people have incredible self-control all the time. But maybe they're simply better at managing distractions. What do you think causes people to lose focus so easily these days?
Honestly, I think our brains are overwhelmed. Every day, we're reading emails, watching videos, checking social media, replying to messages, and switching from one task to another. Our attention is constantly being pulled in different directions. Imagine trying to read a book while someone changes the TV channel every 30 seconds. That's what our brains often experience.
That's a great example. Sometimes we blame ourselves. We think, I'm just lazy. Or, I have no discipline. But maybe the real problem is that we're surrounded by distractions.
Exactly. And here's something interesting. Our brains weren't designed to multitask all day. Many people say, I'm good at multitasking. But research suggests something different. Most of the time, we're not multitasking. We're simply switching quickly between tasks. And every time we switch, our brain needs a few moments to refocus. That costs time and energy.
So instead of doing two things at once, we're actually doing both things more slowly.
Exactly. A few years ago, I tried answering emails while writing an article. I thought I was being productive. But after 2 hours, the article wasn't finished. The emails weren't finished either. And I felt completely exhausted. That's when I realized being busy isn't the same as being productive.
I think that's something many people need to hear. Sometimes we confuse movement with progress. Just because we're doing something doesn't mean we're doing the right thing. If you had to choose one thing, what's the biggest enemy of focus?
Without a doubt, our phones. Now, I'm not saying phones are bad. They're incredibly useful. But they're designed to grab our attention. Every notification, every vibration, every little sound interrupts our thinking. Even if we don't pick up the phone, part of our brain is already wondering, who just texted me?
That happens to me all the time. Sometimes I don't even receive a notification. But I still check my phone out of habit. It's almost automatic.
Exactly. Habits are powerful. The good news is, we can build better ones. For example, when I need to focus, I put my phone in another room. Not on silent. Not face down. In another room. It sounds simple. But it works.
I like that idea. Because if your phone isn't within reach, you're much less likely to check it every few minutes. Sometimes making the right choice easier is better than relying on willpower.
Absolutely. People often ask me, what's the secret to staying focused? And my answer is always the same. Don't depend on motivation. Create an environment that helps you succeed. A clean desk, A quiet room. A clear goal. Small changes like these make a huge difference.
I couldn't agree more. Focus isn't about being perfect. It's about making small choices that help you stay on track. And after the break, we're going to share practical techniques that successful students and professionals use every day. We'll also talk about morning routines, the Pomodoro Technique, and simple habits that can help you improve your focus starting today. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us, today's episode is all about how to focus like a pro. Before the break, we talked about distractions, our smartphones, and why being busy isn't always the same as being productive. Now, let's talk about something practical. David, if someone says, I can't focus for more than 10 minutes, where should they begin?
I'd tell them not to worry. Most people think they need to study for 3 or 4 hours without taking a break. But that's actually very difficult. Instead, start with small periods of focused work. One method I really like is called the Pomodoro Technique.
I've heard of that before. Can you explain how it works?
Of course. It's surprisingly simple. You choose one task. Set a timer for 25 minutes. During those 25 minutes, you work on only that task. No checking messages. No social media. No switching to something else. When the timer rings, take a 5-minute break. Then repeat the process. After 4 sessions, take a longer break. That's it.
I love how simple that sounds. 25 minutes doesn't feel overwhelming. Even if you're tired, you can usually stay focused for that amount of time.
Exactly. The goal isn't to force yourself to work longer. The goal is to work with complete attention. Even 25 minutes of deep focus can be more valuable than 2 hours of distracted studying.
Let's talk about mornings. Many successful people seem to have a morning routine. Do you think it really makes a difference?
Absolutely. Your morning often sets the tone for the rest of the day. If the first thing you do is check social media, your brain immediately starts reacting to other people's priorities. Instead, try beginning your day with your own priorities. Drink some water. Stretch for a few minutes. Write down your 3 most important tasks. Then begin your work before opening social media.
That's a great idea. I used to check my phone the moment I woke up. And before I even got out of bed, I was already distracted. Now, I wait at least 30 minutes before looking at my notifications. It makes a huge difference.
That's a fantastic habit. People often underestimate the power of a peaceful morning. A calm beginning usually leads to a more productive day.
Now let's discuss something that affects almost everyone. Procrastination. Why do we keep delaying important work?
Because our brains like comfort. Imagine you have 2 choices. One is writing an essay. The other is watching funny videos. Which one feels easier? Obviously, the videos. Our brain naturally chooses activities that give us quick rewards. That's why procrastination is so common.
So how can we overcome it?
Here's my favorite strategy. Don't tell yourself, I'm going to study for 3 hours. Instead say, I'm only going to study for 5 minutes. Most of the time, starting is the hardest part. Once you've begun, it's much easier to keep going.
I use a similar trick. Whenever I don't feel like cleaning my room, I tell myself, I'll clean for just 5 minutes. And somehow, 5 minutes usually becomes 20.
Exactly. Action creates motivation. Not the other way around. Many people wait until they feel motivated. But motivation often appears after you start working.
Let's talk about deep focus. What does that mean?
Deep focus means giving your full attention to one important task. No interruptions. No multitasking. Just complete concentration. Think about reading a great novel. After a while, you forget about everything around you. You're completely absorbed in the story. That's deep focus. And it's one of the most valuable skills you can develop.
I like that example. It reminds us that our brains already know how to focus. We just need to create the right conditions.
Exactly. A quiet room, a clean desk, one clear goal, and your phone out of sight. Those small changes make deep focus much easier.
Since many of our listeners are learning English, let's connect this topic to language learning. How can someone stay focused while studying English?
First, choose one goal for each study session. Maybe today, you only practice listening. Tomorrow, you focus on speaking. Another day, you learn new vocabulary. Trying to improve everything at once can feel overwhelming.
That's great advice. I also recommend studying with a purpose. Instead of memorizing random words, learn vocabulary you'll actually use. Watch an English podcast. Listen carefully. Repeat useful expressions. Then try using them in your own sentences.
Exactly. Learning becomes much easier when it's connected to real life. And remember, consistency is more important than intensity. Studying 20 minutes every day is usually better than studying 4 hours once a week.
Before we finish, let's teach our listeners a few useful expressions.
Sure. Stay focused, keep your attention on one task. I need to stay focused while I'm studying. Get distracted, lose your attention. I always get distracted by my phone. Stay on track, continue making progress. Making a daily plan helps me stay on track. Take a break. Stop working for a short time. After 25 minutes, I take a short break.
Those are excellent expressions. They're simple, natural, and very useful in everyday English.
Absolutely. And remember, focus isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. Small habits, repeated every day, can completely change your results.
I couldn't agree more. After the break, we'll talk about how focus can change your life, the habits of highly productive people, and one powerful message that every English learner should hear. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We've had such an interesting conversation today. We've talked about why focus is becoming more difficult, how distractions affect our daily lives, and practical ways to improve concentration. Now, let's finish today's episode by talking about something even more important: how focus can completely change your life. David, when you look back at your own experiences, do you think learning to focus made a real difference?
Absolutely. In fact, I think focus has been one of the most valuable skills I've ever learned. When I was younger, I believed successful people simply worked harder than everyone else. But later, I realized something different. They didn't necessarily work longer hours. They worked with better attention. They protected their time. They knew how to avoid distractions. And that made all the difference.
I love that. People often confuse being busy with being productive. You can spend 10 hours working, but if you're distracted every 5 minutes, you may accomplish less than someone who works with complete focus for just 2 hours.
There's a famous saying that I really like. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. If your attention is scattered, your results will be scattered too. But when you give one task your full attention, the quality of your work improves dramatically.
Let's talk about daily habits. Many people ask, how do productive people stay focused every day? David, what habits have helped you the most?
The first habit is planning my day before it begins. Every evening, I write down the 3 most important tasks for the next day. Not 20 tasks. Just 3. That way, when I wake up, I already know what deserves my attention.
That's a great strategy. It removes the stress of deciding what to do next. Instead of wasting time thinking, you can immediately get started.
Exactly. Another habit is protecting my mornings. I try not to check social media as soon as I wake up. Instead, I drink some water, stretch for a few minutes, review my goals, and start with the most important task. I've noticed that the first hour of my day often determines the rest of it.
I couldn't agree more. Mornings set the tone for the entire day. If you begin with distractions, it's much harder to stay focused later.
One more habit is taking regular breaks. Some people think working nonstop makes them more productive. But our brains need time to recover. Even a short 5-minute walk or looking away from the screen can help you return with fresh energy.
Can you think of someone whose success was built on focus rather than talent?
Definitely. I have a friend who wanted to improve his English. He wasn't naturally gifted. He wasn't fluent. And he made plenty of mistakes. But every single day, he studied for just 30 minutes. No excuses. No skipping days. After 1 year, his English had improved so much that he got a better job at an international company. People called him talented. But I knew the truth. It wasn't talent. It was consistency and focus.
That's such an inspiring story. It reminds us that small actions, repeated every day, can create amazing results. Success rarely happens overnight. It's built one focused day at a time. Let's connect this to English learning. Many of our listeners want to improve faster. What advice would you give them?
Keep it simple. Don't try to learn everything at once. Instead, choose one skill each day. Maybe today you practice listening. Tomorrow, focus on speaking. The next day, work on vocabulary. Small, focused sessions are much more effective than trying to do everything at once.
That's excellent advice. Another thing I'd recommend is studying with purpose. Don't just watch English videos. Listen carefully. Repeat useful expressions. Pause the video. Practice speaking out loud. Learning becomes much more effective when you're actively involved.
Exactly. Remember, quality is more important than quantity. 1 hour of focused practice is far more valuable than 3 hours of distracted studying.
Before we finish, let's review a few useful expressions from today's conversation.
Great idea. Here are some words and phrases you'll hear often. Stay on track, continue making progress without getting distracted. Get sidetracked, lose focus because something distracts you. Pay attention, focus carefully on something. Stick to your plan, continue following your schedule. One step at a time, make progress gradually. Keep your eyes on the goal, stay focused on what you want to achieve.
Those are all practical expressions that you can use in everyday conversations. Try using one or two of them this week. The more you practice, the more natural they'll become. Before we end today's episode, I have one final question. If someone listening feels distracted all the time, what would you like to say to them?
I'd say this. Don't expect perfection. No one stays focused every minute of every day. Even highly successful people get distracted. The difference is, they notice it. Then they gently bring their attention back to what matters. Remember, focus isn't about being perfect. It's about returning to your goal. Again and again. Every time you choose your priorities over distractions, you're becoming a stronger and more disciplined person.
I love that message. And I'd like to add one more thought. Don't compare yourself to someone who's been practicing for years. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. If you're a little more focused today, that's progress. And progress deserves to be celebrated.
Exactly. Great achievements don't come from one perfect day. They come from many ordinary days, filled with small, consistent efforts. Stay patient. Trust the process.
I love that message. And I'd like to add one more thought. Don't compare yourself to someone who's been practicing for years. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. If you're a little more focused today, that's progress. And progress deserves to be celebrated. Beautifully said, David. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to all of our amazing listeners around the world. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who wants to become more focused and productive. Every week, we bring you natural American English conversations designed to help you improve your listening skills, vocabulary, pronunciation, and speaking confidence. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, stay focused on what truly matters. This is Speak English Naturally podcast. Signing off. Goodbye. And thanks for listening.